Hi, and welcome to Lightdash Fundamentals for business users. We're going to run through all the essential functionality of Lightdash in this video. We'll discover a typical Lightdash instance, we'll navigate and understand the Lightdash UI, and we'll end up with all the skills so that you can self-serve and explore all the data in your own Lightdash project. Here's the plan. We'll start with learning the basics of dashboards. We'll talk about Lightdash terminology, defining things like metrics and dimensions, and we'll use that to enable you to explore data independently. So from here, let's jump into the Lightdash demo instance. If you don't already have a Lightdash instance for your organization, or you want to follow along with the data that I'm going to be accessing here, you can find the same content as this at demo.lightdash.com. When you first log into Lightdash, you'll start on the homepage. There might be some pinned items here. You can also see things like the most popular content at your organization. Often you'll be looking for something specific, and you can use the browse function to find that. Here we can see different spaces, the Lightdash version of a folder. Let's navigate to the first one in the list here, sales. Right, and in here I can see the sales dashboard, which is what we want to focus on. I could have also found this using the search function at the top here. For example, if I type in sales, I can see everything related to that search term in the project. So there's a few other charts here, for example, and I can just choose what I need. Once you've navigated to that dashboard, you'll usually see a collection of charts, maybe some text like the example we have here to help you understand how the dashboard works. Here we can see a few different charts showing things like profit we receive per partner and information about our weekly revenues. So we've got some e-commerce data to deal with here. As you kind of hover over things, you'll start to see things like tooltips pop up. You might see descriptions as well. So be curious, hover your mouse around, see what you can find. You'll also notice the filters at the top of the dashboard. So we can interact with these to change the graphs by adjusting their values. Here, let's change the shipping country to only show us results from the US. So once I've selected that, I can hit apply, and our dashboard will automatically reload to show us sales data from just the US. We can also add our own filters to the dashboard, either by hitting the add filter button in the top left, or we can interact with a data point on one of the graphs. For example, we can limit the data to a specific partner by clicking on the profit per partner chart and hitting the filter to option. So I have a partner here called Redwood Ranch. I can click on this red bar and I'll have this option to filter dashboard to, and in this case, I'm going to choose the partner name option. And our filter shows up here. The dashboard is now going to reload all data, and it's just showing me now data from the shipping country is set to US, and the partner name is Redwood Ranch. I can reset these filters. I can remove this Redwood Ranch filter, and I can also reset the filter here. And we're back to what our original dashboard looked like. We also have a date zoom option in the top right. So this allows you to quickly change the granularity of the dates you see in your charts. For example, we can change this to month here, and our charts will recalculate. So I think the top right chart was already set to month, but now our weekly revenue stats shows monthly instead of weekly. And we can head back to our default quickly up here. So you may have spotted earlier that when we click on a data point, we get a few additional options. You can see that we actually have the option to copy a value. So let's click on an option down here. So we have an option to copy a value, view underlying data, and also drill into. So we'll cover off all of those. Let's see. Let's first look at something like view underlying data. So for the profit per partner, we can click on, again, our friend Redwood Ranch, and we can click View Underlying Data. So we now get to see all of the underlying rows of data that go into calculating that. In this case, that's all the individual orders for the given day or the given month that we selected, and the partner that we selected. And so there might be hundreds of rows here, but we can quickly understand what makes up that particular metric, and we can even export the CSV if we wanted to. What if we wanted to see something like weekly revenue split by marketing referral? We can use drill down to do that. So when I choose the drill into option, I'm presented with a field picker. So let's choose one of these days. So this is the weekly revenue stats, and I want to split this by the kind of marketing referral information. So I hit this drill into. I can choose my field here, which I'm going to choose referrer. And then I get the option to open in a new tab. So let's hit that. Now, this is going to present us with a sneak peek of the Table Explorer UI, which we'll come back to later. But you can see that Lightdash has split out our revenue on here, our sum of basket total, by the referrer field. So did someone come from Facebook, Instagram, organic, etc. And it generated a kind of helpful chart for us at the same time. Headed back to the dashboard now, we're going to explore a few ways in which you can share and export data. The menu button in the top right provides an option for scheduled deliveries. So you can create new scheduled deliveries to send copies of the dashboard following a schedule you set here. So if I hit create new, I can name my delivery. I can choose the delivery frequency. I can send either CSV data from my dashboard, or I can send an image as well. And I can send this via email. I can send it via Slack. We also have a Teams integration as well. You can head back to that menu and skip straight to export if all you want is the CSV or an image one time. At any time, you can also head to an individual chart by clicking on the chart title. So let's head back to profit per partner and we'll dive a bit deeper into this specific chart. So a dashboard is made up of individual charts, all of which are created from an underlying query that's run against your data. In the chart view, you can easily see the data that is making up the chart by clicking the results tab. So we now get the data that's in the chart in a kind of a more tabular format. You'll notice there are a few share options here on the right. So on the chart, we can share an image. On the results tab, we can export to CSV, or if you configure in your instance, you can actually immediately open this data in a Google Sheet. Charts also have a few more options here in their menu. So you can set up things like alerts. So alerts are very similar to scheduled deliveries, but they'll only trigger when certain conditions are met. So for example, you could set an alert to send an email if the revenue for a given day drops below a certain amount. Again, if enabled here, if you have an integration with Google Sheets, you'll also see a Google Sheets sync option. This allows you to point a Lightdash chart to a Google Sheet and have the data in that sheet updated on a schedule. Here's an example of what that looks like. You can see I have a Google Sheet here. The first tab has some metadata, including information about what chart the sheet is grabbing data from and when the last sync happened. The second tab shows you the actual data that is pulling from that chart. So this can be very helpful if you need to do some additional manipulation here. You want to build something super flexible. So now you have a good basis in how to make use of content that has already been created for you. You should be able to find relevant charts and dashboards, either with the browse function or through search, adjust them with filters, view the underlying data, drill into specific data points, set up schedules, exports, alerting. But what if the questions you're asking haven't already been answered? That's where the explore functionality of Lightdash comes into play, allowing you to easily self-serve and answer your own questions. Now, we can access this functionality in a lot of different ways. We can hit the New button in the top left and hit the Query from Tables option, or more commonly, you might find some content which is close to what you want, but you just need to change a few things. You just need to get to the Explore from Here button, and that will take you to the Table Explorer. So I think we had an example here. This Explore from Here button allows you to then manipulate this chart. When we do that, we get a new interface. Right? On the left, we see this sidebar that we kind of had a sneak peek when we were drilling down. And on the right, we see our table of results and our chart. So we'll just take a step back here before we dive in and discuss some Lightdash terminology. I've already mentioned dimensions and metrics a lot. Let's clear up exactly what I mean by that. So the sentence, that chart in the KPI dashboard was so informative. Did you use the orders table grouped by the user ID dimension to calculate the total orders metric? It might not make a lot of sense right now, so let's break it down. Here are two key terms: dimensions and metrics. Dimensions are things we use to group the data. For example, we might group by region or by the day. Metrics then are things we can use to measure in these groups. For example, the total number of sales. Here's some further examples. A dimension might be something like a product name, a product size, an order amount, or an order status. On the right, we would consider a dimension to be the color of one of the squares. And that makes some sense as something that we might want to split by. Metrics, on the other hand, might be something like total order count or total product quantity. Using our squares analogy here on the right, it might be the count of each square. And when we combine that with the color dimension, we get the total cubes, the metric, split by the cube color, and that's the dimension. So anytime you kind of come across a question, for example, how does the volume of orders change across different quarters? We should be able to split this out into dimensions and metrics. So take a quick second to see if you can figure out what's what. Right, our metric is the volume of orders, or the sum of the number of orders. And our dimension here is the quarter when the order was created at. Let's head back to Lightdash so we can see how that translates to answering questions using the kind of explore functionality. So here we are on the homepage. Let's start by heading to a table where we can choose some metrics and dimensions. Clicking New and then Query from Tables, you'll be greeted with a selection of tables on the left that you can choose from. We just got a few here. Your organization probably has a whole bunch. Each one of these tables will have a different set of metrics and dimensions. Sometimes it's obvious where you need to go. For example, support requests, I can be pretty sure what's in there. I can also hover over to get a bit more information. Other times it can be a bit tougher to figure out, but your data team should be able to point you in the right direction if you're not sure. For us, support requests looks like a good option. So let's click on there. In Lightdash, dimensions are blue, metrics are orange. So we have our blue dimensions on the left, just below our orange metrics. Let's start off easy by selecting a date dimension. So for the request date, let's choose to split things by month. And then our metric might be the total requests. So we just click here and we start to populate this table on the right. Once we've chosen the things we want, we can hit Run Query, and Lightdash will head off grab some data from it for us, and also generate a nice chart for us as well. Now, we can start to adjust what is shown in the chart by choosing other dimensions and metrics from the left-hand side. You can either look for what you need or use the search at the top to filter things down if you have a lot of dimensions and metrics here. Also note that the same hover functionality works here. So if I hover over something, you'll tend to get a description that can help with understanding. I'm going to split things up here by an additional dimension, which will be the support reason. So let's click that. And we're adding the support reason. I'm going to remove the month here. So I'll remove this now. And now we're just going to look at the reason for any given support request and the number of times that reason has shown up. You may have noticed also that we have the filter options available for charts too. So we have this filter bar up here. This Explorer doesn't have any filters added by default, but we can add or remove filters as we please. To add new filters, you can hit the icon for the given dimension. So for example, if I wanted to filter to the last 2 months, I can hover over filter and I have this little funnel filter icon here. So I can click that, or I can head to filters and click the add filter button as well. So let's just filter this to the last 2 months. So I can have request date month in the last and then 2 months. Okay, once I'm happy with my selection, so I've got this new dimension, I've added this filter, I can hit the run query button again and generate a new results set. Straight away, we get a new graph, this time with the reason on the x-axis rather than the date. Nice. However, I think this might work better as a pie chart. So we can hit the configure button here to change up how the chart looks. Here I can start to adjust things. So right at the top, we can change the chart type to pie chart. I can also head to a few different settings here. Depending on your chart, you'll get different options. But on series, I can do things like I can add value labels. So here I can provide the percentages as actual labels here. I could also change the color of one of my series here. So we'll change this to a nice Lightdash purple. And I can also even like overwrite some of my values here just by typing in. Many other chart types are available. A horizontal bar chart might work quite well here. For example, you go and explore and see what works best for your particular visualizations. Let's head back to the standard bar chart and let's think about how we might display some more information here, add some complexity. For example, I might want to see the split of reasons by month. To begin, I need to decide, what dimensions and metrics do I need to do that. So I'm seeing split of reasons, one dimension, by month, another dimension. Let's add that in. And my metric is still total requests. I want to see this for the last 12 months, so I'll make sure to update my filter up here at the top. And then finally, I'll hit the run button. Now my results table has been updated. I have reasons, month, and total requests, but I need to adjust my chart to get it exactly how I want it. First, I'll head to this configure and I'll make my x-axis, instead of reason, I'll have month. So now I have a bar for each month, but I also want to split this by reason, and so I'm going to add that as a group. Great. So by adding that group for each month, I now have a small bar for each of the different reasons. And I also have an option to stack this. So let's stack it. And this is looking great now, right? So I can at a glance, I can see the total number of requests that we have per month. And I can see how that's split between the different reasons that users might give. I can do similar things with additional metrics. For example, I can add in the average feedback rating here. So let's remove the reason. And for each month, I might want to see two different metrics. I want to see the total requests and I want to see the average feedback rating. So again, first thing we're doing, we're deciding on our dimensions and metrics and then putting them together. So if I hit run query here, again, I have my request date month and just my standard metric, which is total requests that I can see here on the left-hand side. If I hit the configure button, I get some options here. And in this case, I want to add another metric to my y-axis. And that's going to be the average feedback rating. Now, average feedback ratings are always between 1 and 10, so they're really small here. I can do some more advanced things, like I could change the average feedback rating to be on a right-hand sided axis. So now you can see I have between 0 and up to 8 here for my average feedback rating, and I could change that maybe to a line chart. And there's lots of options in here. If I don't like the way that it's chosen the numbers for these, for the range on my y-axis here, I can come into my axes configure and put the minimum to 0 and the maximum to 10. And now we have something that I'm a bit more happy with. There are loads of options for all the different chart types. The best way to learn here is to be curious and explore. The final chart type we will cover here is the table, which allows you to pivot data just like you would in a spreadsheet. So for the last time, let's go back and add in our reason dimension. So we'll pop that back in and we'll run this. So now we have two different metrics, two different dimensions, and we want to kind of pivot this data. So I no longer want this kind of visualization. I'm going to move to the table chart type. In here, I get a new option, and I can drag and drop columns and rows around to get what we need. So I want a row for every month, and then I want a column for each one of the different reasons that might come up. So I can just drag this up here, and we can now see the pivoted version of our table. So we have one row for every month, and I have then a couple of columns for each one of my metrics related to each specific reason. Now we can clean this up a little bit. We probably want to sort our data slightly differently here so the months are in the right order. So I can do that with the little sort functionality here. So now we're looking at months increasing from last year. And we could add things like conditional formatting if we wanted to, be creative and explore. Once you are happy with your chart, there are a few ways to share it. You can send the link to anyone at your organization without needing to save the chart. This is super useful when you just want to convey some ad hoc analysis, and it's not something you're going to come back to very often. And get a small version of the link. You just click this copy link here, send that to a colleague. They will see exactly what you're seeing here on your screen. And if you were to change things, for example, change the filter to 8 months, run this query again, this link is now updated and it will show just for 8 months. You can also save this as a standalone chart. You can hit the Save Chart button and you just need to add a name and a description and then choose the space you want to save it in. You can also add the chart directly to a dashboard by selecting the option under Save Chart here. So we just have a dashboard and then choose the dashboard that's relevant to you. All right, great. So that's the end of the video here for your fundamentals. You should be able to consume and create content in Lightdash. The best to learn from here is to explore yourself, try and answer some questions you might have using tables, and playing around with different metrics and dimensions. There is also a video for more advanced functionality, so check that out too if you want to explore some of the more complex configs that you can add to your analysis. All right, take care.